Hey guys, Erik here of the Orange Stack, and on today's podcast, a fun topic. It's something that hits me personally, but I think that a lot of other people are going to be affected by this. Today's show is called The Importance of Living Life on Your Own Terms, and really just making your own choices and doing things for your own life, not based upon the opinion of what you think others might see you as, or even saying what you might think others expect of you. So as we get into this show, think about what are the choices that you're making in your life, and how are you doing them, and why are you doing them, and is there another choice that you could be making that might bring you more happiness? So let's go get into the show. Hey guys, and welcome to Facebook Friday. Erik here of the Orange Stack. Thanks for being here every Friday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific, as we uncover how to grow your business, how to do more in real estate, and how to use marketing to do that as well. So today is another one of those mindset days, and we're going to get into understanding how you feel about yourself and really just some of the choices that you're probably making in this life and how to live a life on your own terms. I appreciate you guys being here and being willing to engage with the show and tune in every single week, as hopefully we help you guys do more with your real estate business. You know, the thing I've realized about real estate in any business is there's so much going on in your head. It is such a mental game. We actually made a post the other day on our Instagram page, and I was just saying that I think 99.9 or whatever that number is percentage of entrepreneurs and business owners fail because they just can't quite make it. They think the pressure's too hard. They just give up right before they win. You know, it's that whole 3 feet from gold story that you've probably heard before. So if you're almost there and you're just struggling to get by, or you're just getting through your first year or two in real estate, just take a step back for a moment and say, I'm almost there. Let me just keep going a little bit further. Just keep doing the things that you know you need to succeed at, okay? So guys, how's your Friday going? How's your week gone? This has just been a lightning race for me. It's amazing how fast these Fridays come, one after another after another. And I don't know where your Fridays are. You know, maybe you're hanging up your hat on Friday. Maybe it's preparing for open houses, depending on the type of agent that you are and what it is that you're doing. Some agents I know are that Monday to Friday agents. Some are like a Wednesday through Sunday agent. Some are Monday to Monday, back to back to back to back to back, right? So wherever you are in your business, hopefully you guys are doing well and enjoying the spring, right? It's beautiful outside. The houses are selling quickly. The time on market is going really fast. We were looking at a house the other day with a client. It was on the market for 27 hours and they already had a whole bunch of showings on it. So just curious again how your real estate market's doing. All right, so in today's show, we are talking about, and this is the official title, the importance of living a life on your own terms. And you're probably thinking like, of course I'm living my own terms. I'm not 13 and living with my parents anymore. I got to make my own choices, right? But do you? Are you making your own choices? Have you gone down this career path because it was your decision? That's what we're going to get in today, and really understanding how the choices that you've made to get you where today may not be your own choices, but may be guilted into actually doing something for somebody else, right? So I'm going to share some personal experiences with that and see if this will all jive together when it comes together. So one of the things I think that people don't quite understand is the judgment that comes from other people and the thought that they put into that. Gary Vee had a post the other day. He talked about, again, this 99%, right? 99% of the people out there who you think are judging you could care less about you. Like, they're doing their own thing. They're doing their own life. They have their own opinions. They're not as critical upon you as you probably think. I think so many of us, when we create content, when we put ourselves out there, when we get on the phone, when we go door knock, when we try to meet new people, we think that people are judging us based on, you know, how we talk or our accents or, you know, how we mumble or how we have a hard time keeping our thoughts formulated. But on the other side, they're doing the same thing in their mind when they're trying to talk to you or listen to you, right? They're self-conscious, they're aware of their own limitations. And so they're probably judging themselves while you're judging yourself and you're thinking that they're judging you. So I think the big thing to remember when we get into this is that a lot of people don't judge you as much as you think they do. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later, but that's one of the things that I've struggled with, is always just thinking that people are reviewing you and thinking like, you know, maybe he's not as good as he is, or maybe he doesn't really believe that, or maybe he isn't able to accomplish that. So don't worry about the judgment of others. Just be in it for yourself, okay? So when you're in a job because money is critical for you, right? So a lot of people got into real estate because they sell this like real estate life, right? They make it sound like, the world's made it sound like real estate is a great place to be to make a lot of money. And it can be. There's a lot of people who've made incredible amounts of money, right? They buy real estate, they sell real estate, they've owned apartment complexes, they build big commercial spaces. Over time, real estate is one of the best investments that you can ever make. Hands down, 100% agree to that. But I think a lot of people chase that dream of being in real estate because the money that's involved. Honestly, I know that was one of the reasons that I got into it, because I saw these people. So I got into real estate because of house flipping. It was just super exciting to me. I love construction, and that was one of the things that got me into it. But then I started seeing these TV shows, right? And they paint this amazing picture for Flip This House and all those type of shows where it's like, hey, we bought this house for X, we spent a little bit of money on it, and 3 weeks later we made $100,000, right? I remember back in the day, they didn't disclose all the ownership costs and all the holding costs and all the fees and everything that were involved in that. So they painted this picture that a lot of people were making a ton of money into it. And being as naive as I was back then, I thought that, yeah, you could easily make $100,000 in a month's worth of time working. And I wasn't even making $100,000 a year back then. So a different way of thinking about it. So I think a lot of people kind of came into the real estate world thinking that there's easy money here and that I can do anything to make the amount of money that I'm willing to make. And there's plenty of jobs out there where people say, look, I can just work a few years, I can just sacrifice my time and my life and my interest just to make some quick money, and then I'll go do what I want. But then they get down this rabbit hole and they get sucked into doing something that they may not love, but they've kind of figured it out and the money's good enough. Maybe they're not making the money that they thought, but it pays the bills, and they thought, if I have to leave this, it's going to be hard to replace this job. So I guess my question for you is, did you get into real estate because you love houses and you love the real estate transaction and you love working with people and you love showing homes to buyers and you love solving home sellers' problems and getting them money for when they sell their house? Or did you get into it because there's potentially a lot of money to be made? And if you're just chasing that dollar and you're just chasing that dream of making a bunch of money so that you can retire when you're 40 or 50 or earlier than 65, maybe you're in it for the wrong reasons. And again, we've talked about this kind of a lot around here, but I don't want to feel like I'm trying to talk you out of being in real estate. I just want to help you understand, why am I in this business? And if you are in the business of real estate because there's massive amount of money to make your money and get out and go do something that you love, right? Or make this a 40-hour-a-week job where it pays your bills, but then you're also allowed to do something that you love, right? Maybe you sell homes, let's just call it Wednesday through Sunday. And that's your full-time gig and you love it, but that leaves you Monday and Tuesday and maybe some afternoons or maybe some early mornings, depending on how you work your real estate career, to do something fun like going and painting or taking pictures or riding horses or whatever it is, right? Maybe there's some side thing that you can do to generate some income to help you feel good about it and to also expand your interest and do something else. So think about that. If there's something else in your life that you want to do, find an hour a week or 10 hours a week or whatever it is to do those things. Maybe real estate becomes that part-time hobby for you just to pay the bills, and then there's something else that can kind of fulfill that. I keep grabbing my heart in my head, my passion in life, okay? So get that out of the way, but think about where you are in your real estate career, and if you're here for your own desires or here to solve somebody else's problems. Okay, and this is something else to consider too, when you're doing something you love, you don't mind being up at 2 in the morning working on your website or checking out the new homes that are on the market, because the MLS will kick the new houses out in the night as new listings come up. Sometimes ours is a little slow and you get these weird listings at like 1 in the morning. I remember when we first got into flipping houses, I was up super late just reading about houses and better ways to do construction, and I was always looking for better deals and can we buy these doorknobs online from this place, and can I order in bulk from this place, and just scouring the internet for good prices, and always come up with better marketing ideas. It was something that I was excited about, and yeah, I was driven for the money, but I was trying to figure out this new business, and so it was a lot of fun. And what I realized, if it's 5 o'clock and you're already in your car driving home because the day's over, right? Like I've been to some businesses and like 4:55, like that place is a ghost town because everyone's out of there to go home and do something else. They're not there because they love that work. They're there because it pays their bills. But if it's 12 o'clock or 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning and you're like, oh my gosh, like I gotta go to bed, I'm still up doing my thing, that's when you found something that you really like. Okay? So if it becomes more of something that you're excited about and passionate about, and you don't have to tell yourself, or if you have to tell yourself, I gotta go eat and I gotta go rest and I gotta go sleep, then maybe you found what you're really excited about. I think of my friend Pat, he would probably get home from work around 7 o'clock at night, and then he would start painting till 10, 11, 12 at night, and I think he realized that, this is something I really like and I want to explore it further and do some other stuff with it. So where is your passion? Okay, going back to my notes here. This is a fun one too. I was just kind of writing some bullet points out here as I've been brainstorming this topic throughout the week. But I said, if you have to sigh the next time one of your buyers says, let's go see a new listing, probably don't love real estate as much as you imagine, right? So I'm working with one of my friends right now, and they are looking at a ton of houses all over the place. Like they're super excited about moving back to the area, and there's just tons of houses out there, and I don't think they fully understand what they're looking for. And so we're looking at a lot of houses, and it's great. And I was just thinking about, the agent that has to show so many houses to those first-time home buyers because they don't know what they're looking for. And they get the text, right? And it's like, hey, we want to go see this other property. And the agent's like, oh, another house. I gotta go get in the car. I gotta go talk to the agent. I gotta go show another house. Probably don't love it as much as you think you do. And maybe you enjoy the listing side of it, right? Maybe the thrill comes from listing that house and owning that transaction versus just being the buyer's agent. And no fault to either of them. It's just how you work and what's exciting for you. When we had our real estate team, I wasn't the one that met with the clients. I wasn't the one going out and meeting with sellers, and I wasn't the one showing houses to our buyers either. I did from time to time, and I showed plenty of houses and I went on plenty of listing appointments, but that's not what my main purpose on our team was. Mine was to run the business and the marketing behind it and run our website and to do our social media, to put on our events, to make sure that our team was a well-oiled machine. I understood the business side of it, and I understand the transaction side of it. It's just not the part that I love. So if you love real estate, find the part of the real estate transaction that you love. Again, is it showing houses, or is it working with a client to sell their house? Is it maybe the process of getting that house ready and on the market? Is it the side of putting your business out there and letting the world see who you are? Is it building funnels and different real estate ads and Facebook ads and Google ads and all that? Like, what's the interesting side of this business for you? And if I'm going through all these things and you're like, Erik, you're right. I hate real estate. I got to get out and I got to go do something else. I want to be a painter. Great. Figure out how to make it work. You probably aren't going to be able to quit tomorrow and go buy a bunch of paintbrushes and go start selling your work. So don't quit your job, but figure out how to bring some other excitement in your life if this is what you're feeling. Okay, so the reason that I talk about being happy so much around here and really enjoying your life is there's two sides of this. Life is super short when you think about it, right? Like most people, like the average lifespan right now is 75, 80 years old. Like for some people that seems like a long, long time. Like to my almost 8-year-old daughter, a 70-year-old person is like they're 10,000 years old. Like it's super long time. When you're turning 40 like I am this year, 80 is not that far off. Like I'm coming down the downhill right now and it's crazy. But what to think about is, we might end up living to be 100, 120 years old. I've heard even 150 years old because science and health and just the well-being of our life is developing so much. So if you're 40 years old or 50 years old, or if you're 60 years old thinking I got 5 more years, I'm going to retire and hang up my hat, you might only be halfway through your life, depending on how long you can live and make it through this life. Yes, life is super short in the grand scheme of things, but at 100 years, 80 years is still a long, long time, especially if you've got to show up to work every day. Work, the job, right? But if it's something that you're excited about and you're like, I'm just doing what I love. I love working with people. I love going out and networking with people and meeting new people and helping them solve their problems because that's what I do as a real estate agent, then maybe it's not work and maybe it's not a job, but it's just something that you do, right? You're a problem solver. You're a people person. Maybe that's where you get your excitement about. So the other side of this too is, I was thinking about this. Most people work from, 7 in the morning, they leave, they come home 6 o'clock at night. Like that's their basically 11 hours away from the house period of time, right? So of the 24 hours, 11 of them are either spent in the car, at the office, showing houses, doing your thing. And maybe you're like, Erik, I work till 10 o'clock at night because that's just my thing. Maybe that's the case, but let's just call it 12 hours. Of the 12 hours that you're not at work, probably 6 to 8 of them you're in bed sleeping. So that basically leaves you about 4 hours to be alive, alert, awake, hanging out with your family, eating dinner, breakfast, those kind of things. So those 4 hours, right? You got family time, you've got just personal, take care of your health, work out, eat, those kind of things. What are you doing in that time? Like that's why I think life is so short, because beyond life of working and beyond life of sleeping, you've got this little window every single day that you get to do other things. So again, if you're trying to find some more passion in life beyond just the paycheck, what are you doing in that time? What are you doing to fulfill this gap and that need that's going to make your life feel fulfilled? Are you helping other people? Are you donating your time to somebody? Are you volunteering somewhere? Are you passionate about a project? Are you going to Honduras to build houses? I don't know, whatever it is. Are you rebuilding something for somebody? Whatever it is, what are you doing during your off time to find some joy and happiness in this life? Maybe it's picking up that paintbrush. I keep going back to Pat and painting. Pick up that paintbrush and go paint something, guys. Okay, so we have a short life. Another thought on this is the expectation of others, and we're leading up to that point, and that's kind of what I want to dive the next little bit into is. So when I grew up in a house with a working dad, and my mom worked for the beginning of my life. She worked for probably like 4 or 5 years, and then she was able to stay home when my sister was born, which was great for her, and it was great for me having my mom around. My dad, on the other hand, he was gone all the time, worked all the time, came home 9, 10 at night, sometimes was out of state on projects. He was in the construction industry, right? So he had a HVAC company, heating and air, and incredible company, had an amazing career. He did some phenomenal things in his life that I'm super proud of him for. And that was one of the sacrifices that he made. He knew that, we wanted to live in a nice house and we wanted to live in a nice area, and he worked his butt off for us. And I think in a son-father relationship, I wanted to become like my dad as much as I could. I saw him, I looked up to him, I respected him, and I thought, you know what, I want to make my dad happy. I was, as Tony Robbins says, when you go to one of his events, who did you crave most love in life, your dad or your mom's, and why? And I think because my dad was gone so much, I craved his love and his approval. And we would see each other on the weekends, and I mean, it wasn't like I never saw my dad, right? Like we had that great relationship, and I still talk to him often today, and I love him, and he's a huge part of my life. But the point is that I was choosing a life that was based upon what I thought my dad wanted. So he was in construction. I got excited about construction. On the weekend, we would, work on our house. We would work out in the backyard. We'd fix things around the house. We'd work on cars together. He taught me a ton on how to use my hands and how to fix things. But I think he's also trying to instill in me the importance of getting a good education and being able to use my head instead of my hands to earn an income. And so while I worked with him, I understood, that he was in construction, and he, being at a young age, I didn't fully understand where I was at that time. But as I grew older, I realized the role that he played in his business and everything. And I thought that that was the career that I wanted because it was something that I was excited about, construction and understanding, how to rebuild things. I have an engineering mind, if you will. And so I went to school for construction, and I just thought, well, this is where I want to go and this is what I want to do. And I changed my major a few times, but I ended up graduating in construction management. And the huge majority behind it was, number one, I understood construction. It made sense to me. And number two, I think because the feeling of making my dad happy, my parents proud, and having a degree in something that my dad and I could relate on and being able to talk about those things. So I went that route. I got the job, got an incredible job in construction, worked in the Bay Area, had just a lot of fun with it. It was good. But it wasn't something that I was super passionate about, right? It wasn't something that I loved. I remember I wouldn't leave the office at 5 o'clock because I was much later than that. But at 5 o'clock and everyone's leaving, I'm like, oh, man, I wish I could be doing something else right now. I wish I could be going somewhere else. The internet was still kind of not everywhere back then. Like, every computer didn't have the internet at our office. There's definitely no smartphone back then where you could, check out websites and YouTubes and things like that. But when I had it, my mind was completely somewhere else besides work. I was reading about cars, and I was reading about remodeling houses and just other things. Like, my mind was not in that job at all. And there's no way that I could have had a 40-year career in anything to do with that. And it was fun to some degree, and it lasted for a few years, and it was exciting. But when the economy came and our company downsized like crazy and I lost my job, one of the first things I did is like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because I can't find another job in this. And my wife kept saying, go find something that you like to do. We're talking about house flipping back then. You still like the construction side of it, but I didn't love the construction side that I was in. And we kind of pursued this path. And so it allowed me, being forced to kind of lose my job, to go explore some other options. For most of you, you're never going to get fired from real estate because you're your own boss, right? Your broker might say, look, you're doing some things that we don't like around here, goodbye. Or unless you break a real estate law that you shouldn't be and get busted for doing something in real estate. But no one's ever really gonna fire you. You may not make any money, but you're the one that chose to stay there, and you're the one that chooses to remain a real estate agent. So what are you doing to possibly further your career? You might have to decide, today's the day, or in a year from now, that's the day that I wanna go this other fork in the route. I like real estate, but I wanna do that with it. Or I don't like real estate at all, and I wanna go that route with it. So what are you doing in your life to make sure that you enjoy it? And the question that I asked when we started the show is, did you get into real estate because of pressure from somebody else? Maybe you had a family member who was in real estate. There's plenty of, this is so funny, there's plenty of moms that I've met who've had a phenomenal real estate career. They are top of their game. At least they were at one point, maybe back in the 80s and 90s. And now that career is starting to fade out. They've had their kids, they raised them, their kids have gone to school and they've come back to the fold. And now they're getting into real estate, and their moms are trying to pass this career off to their kids. I've seen this happen so many times. And if you're one of those moms and you're watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So now you have a son, maybe two sons, maybe even a daughter in the mix, 2-3 kids, and they're about 20, 30 years old, right? And it depends who's watching this and who I'm speaking to here, but the mom's probably in their 60s and they're passing this heritage of real estate off to their kids. and their kids are like, hey, look, mom's giving me the business. This is an opportunity. I don't really love it, but it's already set up and it's able for me to just walk right in, build these relationships and go. Sometimes that works phenomenally, and sometimes they just run with it and they make these empires of real estate careers out of that. And I've seen multi-generations of real estate and families, and it works out. On the other side, I've seen plenty of times where that son or that daughter who comes back into it and the mom tries to mold them into this perfect real estate agent, it just flats on their face and they fail miserably because it's not what they're excited about. They want to go do something else. Maybe they wanted to become a doctor or a lawyer, or maybe they just wanted to hang out and surf, or maybe they wanted to travel or do something else. But the point is they felt guilty and they chose that career path because of that family obligation. There's plenty of family businesses like this that happen too, not just real estate. So if you got into this career because somebody in your family is like, look, I've been in real estate, you should be in real estate, or maybe you saw somebody in real estate and you're trying to get their attention and you went that route for it as well, you probably didn't get into it for the reasons that you like. And don't feel like I'm trying to talk everybody out of real estate, guys, because real estate can be phenomenal. And if you love it, great, keep swiping and watch something else. But if you're stuck in this moment and you're thinking, I don't love the career that I'm going down, I don't love the path that I'm making, guys, life is too short. You need to be making your own choices. You need to be doing the things that bring you happiness. And maybe there is a way, maybe there's a way to stay in the real estate game and be able to make this work for you, right? Maybe instead of selling real estate retail to like buyers and sellers, maybe you work with investors, or maybe you start getting into rental properties, or maybe you get into commercial real estate, or maybe there's a way that you get into some other aspect of it. There's a lot of people that I know who are super excited about real estate investing. It was something that I got into for a while. I got into house flipping. We had some rentals. That kind of seller finance and passive income is something that's a lot of fun for me, and I think that you can make a great career of it. If you're already in real estate and you understand the laws and you understand the mortgage side of it, and you know a good deal when you see one, there's some incredible money to be made. So maybe the retail side of real estate that you got into isn't quite what it was looking out to be, and now you're able to find something else, okay? The other side to this, so you got the parent side, you've got, worrying about what people judge you on. We're gonna get a little deeper into that, is the thought of failure. I know for me, I am super self-conscious of what other people think of me. At least I have been for a long time. As I'm getting to my 40s here quickly, I'm realizing that I care less about what other people think. I'm not here to worry about offending people. When I was, in high school, I was always looking around like who's staring at me. I was always the tallest kid in my high school. I was always the one with the curly hair who stood out, who just was different. And people made fun of me. Like I had plenty of kids making fun of me when I was younger. I got out of middle school and I was happy to go to high school somewhere else. There was not a single kid in my middle school who followed me to high school, and I was ready to lose them all. I didn't have a ton of friends, and I was okay with that. And so I was super concerned with how people looked at me and judged me, and it's taken years to get rid of that kind of fear, but just, I guess, the anxiety of what people think about you. And I know plenty of people who struggle with that, right? The fear of being judged by others. And I think that that's what this video is for, is don't worry about failing in front of others. I think so many people paint this perfect picture on social media all the time, right? They live through their social media life, and as you're scrolling through Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook and all this stuff, you're seeing the life that they're presenting. You don't see the other 99% that they don't show. You don't see the struggles that they have with their spouse or their kids or their finances or their house or anything that they're going through. They just paint that perfect little picture. When you watch a lot of vlogs, that happens. In the last 5-6 weeks, we've been getting into a vlog. We actually started the Erik vlog, and I try to show as much reality as I can, right? Like, I don't win every single time. I'm not positive all the time. I don't get up every morning on time when I need to, and I don't have a home run every single day. So I'm starting to show the realities of my life, the realistic version of it. And maybe it's not that perfect picture that people want to see, right? It's not the Kim Kardashian life. It's the Erik life and the things that I'm going through. But what I'm getting at is that you've got to realize people fail, people struggle, you just don't see it. So stop judging yourself by how you think other people are living their life. Don't compare yourself to that, because you have your own wins and you have your own successes. Let's talk about real estate for a second and how this all works out. So if you're in your office, and let's say there's 100 people in your office, there's going to be a couple top performing real estate agents, right? Maybe they're selling 100, 200, 500 homes a year, and you're selling your 10 or 20 or 2. Doesn't matter. You're thinking somebody's better than me. There always will be somebody better than you. Even if you're #1 real estate estate agent in the United States, next year you might not be there. There's somebody who's going to be better than you, or do it better, or more effective than you, or make more money than you. So wherever you are. But you're going to be in your office, you're going to be in your little cube, you're going to be making your phones, and you're going to see agents just getting listing after listing, and they're not even trying. They're not prospecting anymore. They're not out there lead genning anymore. What you miss though is the last 20 years or 10 years that it took to get them to this point. I remember when I showed up for the first time at our Keller Williams office, I started seeing all these other agents, and they're showing up at 10 o'clock and they're going out to lunch for 2 hours and they're selling like 20 houses a month. And I'm thinking, how in the world is this happening? Like, how do I get to that point? I was showing up there at 7 o'clock. I'm getting on the phone. I'm just dialing. I broke my phone. The 7 number stopped working after a while. My knuckles were sore from door knocking. It was rough. And I kept thinking, why is everyone else doing so well and I'm struggling? I was judging myself based off the results of others that I hadn't seen all the work that they took to get there. So don't judge yourself based on somebody else's results. What you don't realize is maybe there's something that you do fantastic in your own life that they struggle with, right? Maybe there's a trait or a hobby or a passion that you have that you're really good at that they don't. And they're judging themselves based on that. You don't even know it though. So focus on your strengths. Focus on the things that you're great at and go deeper on those. If you're not great at prospecting, hire it out. Go find an ISA. Go find somebody else to knock doors for you. Go find a way to generate the leads so that you can go do the business that you love. Go find the part of real estate that you love. And that's the point of this. Again, it's the importance of living the life on your terms. Tom Ferry once had a program, I don't know if it's still available to the public, but it was called Life on Your Terms, I think, or Life by Design, that's what it's called, Life by Design. And I remember the first time I saw that, I'm like, who designs their life? Like, you just kind of got to live your own life the way that it goes. But you can design the perfect life and you can have the perfect life, but just push away the judgment and the thoughts of others. Push aside the things that you think other people are thinking about you and do things on your own, for your own element, for your own life, your own reason. Choose to get up and make the choices each day. Choose to vlog if you want to vlog. Choose to use social media if you choose to use social media. Choose to prospect if you want to. Choose to door knock. Choose to do real estate if you want to. Maybe you realize Monday morning you're out of there and you don't want to be selling real estate anymore. You'd rather go be a travel vlogger or go to Hawaii and sell coconuts on the beach. Whatever it is, choose to do things for yourself. I think that wraps up most of my notes. My bottom line, I wrote these things out. I might have to read them to you because I have some good things on here. But when you live a life on other people's terms, you'll never truly be happy because you're doing something for somebody else. You aren't doing them for yourself, okay? A lot of you will judge yourself based on the appearance of someone else and the life that you see. Again, we got into that. Whether it's social media, TV, somewhere else that you're looking or seeing or watching, you're gonna judge your life based on others. Just turn it back around and look at yourself and what it is that you're doing. So don't say, why not me? Say, I have what I have. I am who I am. Make the choices and decisions based on who you are and where you are in your life right now, because what you're going to do in a week from now or a year from now or 10 years from now is going to be completely different. But I want you guys to be happy. I want you to make choices that are going to bring you happiness and joy in this life and really enjoy it. Guys, this is my Facebook Friday show. I love it. I love being just bold and direct with you. Again, we get to that mindset mode, and so much of what you do in this life is based on your mind and how you perceive yourself to others, how you think about yourself. Just shut down all the garbage around you. If you have to turn off your phone and stop looking at other people's lives, do it. Go find what makes you happy. Live life on your terms. Guys, I'm Erik Hammond. Thanks for being here every single week. We will see you next Friday on Facebook Friday, and join us on our Erik Hammond show called The Ask Erik Hammond Show, where I answer your top 4 questions of the week on Mondays, 10 a.m., and we will see you then. Bye, guys.